So, Winging It, how appropriately titled this book is, and it's such an honest account of everything that you've gone through, because we all talk about what to expect, and you kind of think you know it, and we just simply don't. And it's all the things that you wish you'd been told beforehand, almost.
Well, thanks for that. I mean, you said this morning that you'd read it and enjoyed it, and I think, you know, when I decided to do the book, I thought, well, it has to be honest and candid. And it was a big decision, actually, to you know, open up and be that honest about the first year of being a parent, because, you know, it is wonderful and it's joyous in so many ways, but it is really hard and difficult, and sometimes you don't want to be a parent. You know, it's a roller coaster, and I hope that's reflected in the book. I just want to go into a cave now, though, because I think, oh no, it's all down there. You know, it's all there for people to read. But actually,
but there's so many books out there, Alex, that sort of paint a very rosy picture of everything, and it, as you say, it just isn't. So to hear a very honest account of those very dark moments, and there were dark moments which you've been very honest about. The birth itself was incredibly traumatic. Well, the birth was what you expected.
I mean, you know, it was painful.
It was, exactly, but it was the bit after, actually. And you ended up in emergency surgery. And at that point, and you speak really well about your husband, Charlie, at that stage, because he really suffered then, because he thought you weren't going to make it.
Well, that's the thing. I think people really forget how traumatic it can be for dads. And Charlie was an immense birthing partner. Of course, before you go into it, you don't know what to expect. And he came through more than I can tell you. I mean, somehow he became this kind of hypnobirthing expert, and we just got through it together. And of course, as soon as Teddy was in my arms, my maternal instinct kicked in, and that's all that worried me. You know, he was out in the world safe, and as far as I was concerned, the job was done. But of course, Charlie, from his perspective, could see what was happening, and I lost a lot of blood, and we were in the birth centre, and everything was nice and quiet. And then suddenly, as you say, we were up in the emergency room, there were a team of doctors, and he was left holding this new little baby, thinking, oh my goodness, you know, is she going to make it? Am I going to be a single dad? And that 12 hours really of labour, you know, it was such a roller coaster for him, the end bit being really, really difficult. And for the first 8 weeks, it took him a while to adjust. I mean, Charlie was meant to be a dad, you know, it's really his calling in life. He loves it, he's fantastic. But it's very different, you know, the men can only be supportive bystanders, and it's all happening, all the focus is on the women, and I think we forget sometimes how difficult it is.
And he found it difficult to say bond, maybe sounds too strong a word, but he realised that this little baby was part of what was going on. And
definitely. I mean, Charlie's loved him, like I have, of course, from the word go. But it's a very different experience. You know, we have all the hormones that allow us to develop this bond. The dad, it sort of has to come more naturally, and they have to work a bit harder. And now, I mean, Charlie and Ted are like this, you know, and I'm the one that's pushed aside. But it's a different process, and I think opening up about that, you know, is important.
It is, and also breastfeeding, which you actually did say that you were very, very close to depression, really, because there was just so much pressure on you, firstly, and you just couldn't, it wasn't working for you to begin with.
Well, all you want to do is keep this little human alive, and so any mother will do her best, and some choose not to breastfeed, some choose, like I did, to try it, but every mother will do what they think is best. I think there's too much pressure on women to breastfeed. I mean, of course, we know it's the best thing for the baby, and most of us will give it a best go. But for me, I found it... it was painful, Christine. It was so painful. And, you know, I remember sitting there with Mum, and I'd be in tears. It was so painful. And, of course, nobody tells you that beforehand. And at one point, it was about 3 weeks in, and Charlie, my husband, said, listen, Al, I'm just going to go out. And he went out, got a bottle of formula, because he said, you know, you're trying your best, but actually we just need to feed Ted. And it's kind of not worth it, you know. And I did persist, and actually it got a lot better. But I wish I would have been... It
was about 6 weeks in almost,
yeah, 6 weeks in. It became lovely, and then I didn't want to stop, but, you know, had to when I went back to work. But I think, had I have known that, and if that conversation was a bit more out in the open, women would be going into it with their eyes open and therefore a lot more prepared.
Winging it is out today. It's just brilliant, Alex, honestly. I just think it's written so honestly, and I can hear you saying the words. It just works. And like you said, you might actually have another baby, but you won't write another book. So that says a great deal as well, doesn't it? So congratulations on doing it during all of this life-changing episode. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Christine.